Thank you, Alicia, for the great introduction and the insight in the IoT today and tomorrow. I'm going to open our slide deck now. Just give me a second to share it with you. Hope everybody sees it. Okay.
Yeah.
So nothing much more to add on top of Alicia's insights and the presentation. It was really great. Where we are going to focus today is on, let's say, a small use case from the consumer IoT space, for which we heard that it's entering our lives more and more. And we're going to show you how to use our platform in a way to support efficiently growing IoT. But so it can be used by the service providers, telecoms, or the BPOs themselves. A few words about us, about technologies. As I said, we are present on the market for 15 years. We call ourselves a business automation company. Our focus for the last 15 years was around telco operators, big telco groups in the Europe mostly, where we deployed solutions for complete automation of the devices which their users are using for using broadband services and everything. So it's a bit already a connected business that we are supporting there. Telcos for sure today are the beacons of the technology they're using. So our platform is successfully used in automation of all those processes and interconnection with the let's say internet or IoT devices which are already there. So regarding the consumer IoT, where we are shifting now, let's see what or which opportunities does it bring. So what we learned is, let's say, consumer IoT devices can be divided into groups. So home devices like appliances, like the smart home in general, like entertainment devices, and everything which we use on daily basis in our homes. And then more personal devices, let's say maybe in size or the way we use them, which can be some voice assistants, smartphones, of course, but also health care devices, because we are seeing rapid growth in that segment in the IoT as well. So these IoT devices in consumer space are really growing in number. Prediction is that by 2025 is going to be almost 60 billion of those devices. Those devices will bring great insights to the customers, which buy them, of course, but they will also enable a complete new level of automation. As Alicia said, this connected business, or connected home or connected society, at the end of the day, it is slowly being step by step growing and enabling these new levels of automation that are coming. IoT space of vendors is really huge. So I would say hundreds or thousands of vendors of many sensors, equipment, etc. So it's going to be for sure a long time ahead of us, a multi-vendor environment, which brings challenges in terms of the platforms which enterprises will use, the integrations which are needed for creating the solutions on top of the IoT devices, etc. But for sure, it's going to be multi-vendor environment. Well, we can imagine from our day-to-day life, we like to live in commodity, not we, but the whole society, and it's really going further in this. We like everything to work smoothly. We don't want to see any issues, problems. But what happens when they occur? Who the users, if we are talking about consumer space, whom they are calling? So what we see today, as we said, for the last 15 years, we are working with telco operators. So I would say tens of thousands of agents in telco operators or the BPOs are using our platforms to serve day-to-day, I don't know how many calls. They're on the first line towards the end customers when they're reporting issues for the telco services. But what we see really is that end users are calling telco providers for any issue that comes into the space of, let's say, connectivity or the devices that are connected to the internet. So never mind that, I don't know, some telco operator in some country is not manufacturer of PlayStation, but if PlayStation cannot connect or have some issues with PlayStation network, first line which is called by the end users is telco operator, and telco operator, can either say, okay, no, sorry, this is not in our scope of services, issues on the PlayStation, or I don't know, is in your game service provider, whatever. This will create a user which is not satisfied, and customer experience for sure will not be good. So what we see, and telcos are using our platform, is to empower the agents which are answering calls to be able to answer more and more calls and help their customers in many situations. So this is what we learned with our customers. But again, on the other side, if we are buying home appliances which are smarter, which are being connected more and more, when something goes wrong, you go into the menu, or you have some contact number or URL or phone number, whatever, and you call the manufacturer of this appliance. Again, mostly BPOs are serving these manufacturers. We can mention Samsung, Bosch, I don't know which other big great names, and need to provide some kind of service or support to the customers which have some issues with the equipment they bought from the vendor. So if these devices, appliances are connected, for sure, this can help in the process. As Alicia said, the IoT is really an enabler for not just for the insights, but also to automate processes, engage end customers, and provide new tools for fixing the issues and resolving the situation while the end user is calling. So wrap up. End users, if we are talking about if we are talking about the IoT devices, which by definition needs to be connected to the internet, end users will more and more for sure call service providers, telco operators, or the vendors or manufacturers. And I think that BPOs are in both segments serving both sides. So what our platform is and how our platform can help in the IoT segment, or in this, to be more precise, in support processes and automated troubleshooting of the IoT devices in the consumer IoT, which is coming. What we are offering, and it's already being used across our customer base, is a Sempresso solution or platform, which is we call it multi-vendor support environment that can integrate with any device from any vendor and provides guided workflows, automated diagnostics, troubleshooting, and complete, let's not just call it knowledge base, but provides processes which are automated, which can be fully machine-to-machine automated, or can involve agents or other people or experts in the process of troubleshooting. Why I'm going back always on the word troubleshooting, because this specific use case is really around it. As I said, what we provide to our customer base and thousands of agents in telco operators is we believe really perfect solution for automated troubleshooting of really complex services that telco operators are providing. One important thing for the BPOs and the telco operators, call centers in general, support services, is that with consumer IoT, for sure, more and more complexity is going towards the agents for them to be able to answer the calls properly, to be skilled, and to help the end user who is calling. And this cannot be, I would say, achieved with traditional methods of training education, long time training education, because agents are coming and going in the organization. They are not staying too long. This is something that we saw. So one needs to rely on the tool that they're using. With our solution, what we saw is really fast agent onboarding, and practically, I don't know, after a really short period of time, agents are able to answer the calls and perform troubleshooting and diagnostics through our tool. Consumer IoT will, of course, be around the proactive care segment or concept as well. Proactive care is approach would be, you need to collect the data. If we are talking about sensors, if we are talking about appliances that send some data, you need to collect it and analyze it. And once some KPIs are degraded, you can react or proactively act. You can call customer if this customer is purchasing some, I don't know, premium support service from the service provider, and help him to overcome this situation. Let me just go one slide back. When we mentioned telco operators being on the first line of the support in general for our society, I would say, digital society, what we are seeing is that service providers are introducing new support services. They call them premium support, gold support, I don't know how more. And they're offering this as a separate service to their customers, because they're, of course, trying to reach or find new ways for revenues. This is a really big challenge for them. And our platform is I would say, helping them or the BPOs as well to be in the race of providing new services to their customers as well. If there are no questions at the current state, I would use this few minutes that I still have to show you really short example about from our platform. A second. I will log out now. So let's imagine that we are in the shoes of an agent who is working either at the BPO side or telco side. It's nevertheless. So what I'm showing you is the application, our platform, which supports, I would say, any type of troubleshooting, any type of, we call it domain, or the segment for which the agent is the responsible. So for example, this agent, me, is skilled for answering calls for telco operators, mobile operators, or cable operators for troubleshooting the connectivity service, which is, I would say, in the consumer IoT space, basic one. This should be working. And for the sake of this demo, we added, we call it Internet of Things domain, where we played a little bit with our system and tried to design some really small short demo how the agent can be capable of troubleshooting some consumer IoT devices, I would say, in the near future. This is coming for sure. It's not the question whether this should happen, but only when. So let's type in, I don't know, some identifier of the user who is calling. We are opening our dashboard, and in this very moment, separate automation processes are running around the network and collecting the data from the devices and trying to find automatically issues and guide the agent in this session towards the end customer. So here you can see we always provide some really nice, we call it network map, with some indicators in color, and it provides a network of connected devices which can be subject of automated troubleshooting and present some, let's say, smart home of the end customer. So we have a router, which is, of course, the basic device for the connectivity. We have some access point, which is usually in the home, and many devices connected to it, and sending some data or providing APIs for the processes of troubleshooting. We mentioned that data collection is an important part of IoT troubleshooting space. Yes, it is. So we, as a part of our system, is a big data, let's say, subsystem, which is capable of collecting vast amounts of data from any device and store it and analyze it, and providing this 360 visibility on the subject of troubleshooting. This is, for this demo, this is really some kind of, let's say, smart home end user is calling, but you can imagine also enterprises which are really closely working with the consumers and providing some services on top of IoT devices. where the agents or BPOs serving those enterprises can serve calls and provide premium support for the end users which need some kind of assistance. So I mentioned multi-vendor. So let's go on the left-hand side. Our system has really great integration capabilities, which is proved in really large telcos around Europe. So here we can monitor something from the Sony PlayStation. This is an entertainment device in the house. I'm not going to go in technical details now, but just to give you a picture about this multi-vendor environment. There is a router, which is maybe, I don't know, from Huawei. We randomly choose the vendors for this demo. We are not preferring any of them, but just to show you that with this tool, we can really integrate multi-vendor environment in the single view, because when end user buys consumer IoT things, as I mentioned, for sure vendors will provide some kind of applications. But once when we reach some really critical number of different vendors and applications, it's much more easier to have a single view on all the devices. Or you can imagine telco operator or BPO with a great number of agents. For sure, some unified view is mandatory. So let's pick one of these. Panic light in the house. Important thing to monitor is battery level. So there is really no limit in which devices can be troubleshooted. And for the agent's sake, of course, there are tools for each and every IoT device to either guide the end user with some traditional methods. For example, if this end user still needs to connect the device to the monitoring system, or I don't know, we can pick any other tool and change some parameters on the device itself if it provides an API for that. I'm telling again, this is maybe a really near future. It's not the question of whether this will happen. For sure it will, because we all want to live in a world without issues, and we want really premium support when we encounter problems in our everyday lives. I don't know whether I have missed something, but really empowering agents and making them capable of answering different types of calls and troubleshooting different types of services, devices. This is what our platform is capable of. So
thank you, Neven. Thank you.
I don't know whether I managed to bring you our vision and picture. I hope, and I'm available, of course, for any question if you have.